When you look back at the first 6 months of the Trump administration, it felt like pure chaos, right? Just one headline after another. But what if it wasn't chaos at all? Today, we're going to dive into a really fascinating analysis from a group called Aquavies Advisors that argues there was a clear, deliberate strategy playing out behind the scenes all along. So the Aquavies piece kicks off with a big question, the one we were all asking ourselves back then. Was this chaos by chance, or was it chaos by design? Was it all just random noise, or was there actually a master plan unfolding right in front of our eyes? Well, according to Aquavis, the answer is a big fat yes. They make the case that if you looked past all that noise on the surface, a really powerful strategy was being executed. Their entire analysis is built around this framework they call the pillars of power, and they say this is the key to decoding everything that was happening. So, what are these pillars? Here you go. It's three big ideas, all connected, that they say are the absolute foundation of the whole strategy: technology, energy, and money. Let's break down each one and see how this whole puzzle fits together. Okay, let's jump into pillar number one, which is the big one: technology. The core idea from Aquavis here is pretty simple. In the 21st century, real, lasting global power, it all comes down to one thing, and that one thing is winning the race for AI dominance. And you gotta understand, the analysis paints AI as the ultimate grand prize. This isn't just about flashy tech or some new app on your phone. They see it as a classic two birds, one stone scenario. If you lead an AI, you basically lock down national security and you kick your economy into overdrive. It's a double win. Okay, but how do you actually get this whole tech race started? Well, according to the Aquavis piece, you need a catalyst. You need to shock the system. And that's where tariffs come into play. They argue the tariffs weren't just about trade. No, they were meant to be a huge wake-up call, designed to force critical industries to come back home, to actually build that tech supply chain you need, right here. And the goal here was, well, it was not subtle. The administration's own AI action plan basically framed this as a modern-day Manhattan Project, with this massive goal of winning the AI race to, lock in a new golden age for the country. So Aquavis breaks AI down into three key parts, and I think this railroad analogy they use is just brilliant. First up is compute. Think of this as the physical stuff, the chips, the data centers. That's your railroad tracks. Then you've got data. That's the cargo that the trains are going to carry. And finally, you have the algorithms. Those are the actual trains, the engines doing all the work. But here's the kicker. You can't run any trains, you can't move any cargo until you've laid down the tracks. It all starts with compute. And just to hammer home how high the stakes are here, the analysis pulls up this quote from Vladimir Putin back in 2017. This really shows that it's not just an American view. World leaders everywhere see AI as the thing, the absolute key to who will rule the world in the future. Okay, so you're building all these AI railroad tracks, right? All these massive data centers and chip factories. But that creates a huge new problem. They are insanely power hungry. And that, my friends, leads us straight into pillar number two: energy dominance. And look, you don't have to take my word for it, or even the analysis's word. Listen to this quote from Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA. This is the company at the absolute epicenter of the AI boom. He says, energy isn't just a piece of the puzzle. It is the single biggest thing holding back AI's growth. Bottom line, that whole technology pillar, it's a non-starter without a ton of energy. So what do you do? Well, the analysis points out that the administration started taking a bunch of pretty decisive steps to clear out the bottlenecks. This meant doing everything from speeding up permits for drilling to pulling out of international climate deals that were seen as holding things back. The goal for all of it? Get more cheap, reliable energy online, and fast. And a really big piece of this whole energy puzzle, which the Aquavis analysis really highlights, is this major new push for nuclear power. And we're not talking about a small goal here. The ambition was massive, a plan to actually quadruple U.S. nuclear capacity by 2050, to build the kind of super reliable, high-density power grid that an economy running on AI is absolutely going to need. All right, so we've got technology and we've got the energy to power it. That brings us to our third and final pillar: money. Think about it. Building all this stuff, all this tech, all this energy infrastructure, it costs trillions and trillions of dollars. So you have to find a way to redirect a whole river of capital to pay for it all. You're funding a whole new American system. So what does that actually look like? What kind of numbers are we talking about? The Aquavis analysis highlights a number that is just staggering. over $7 trillion. That's with a T. $7 trillion in new investment commitments, all pointed squarely at these new tech and energy projects right here in the U.S. This slide right here really gets to the core of the money strategy. See, the argument is that for decades, money has been flowing into what you could call paper assets, stocks, bonds, real estate. The new strategy is all about redirecting that flow of cash away from the paper and into productive assets, real physical things. We're talking semiconductor fabs, data centers, power plants, the actual backbone for the first two pillars we talked about. And this really nails the whole point of the money pillar. The analysis basically says, look, having a big, powerful financial system is just posturing. It's an empty threat if you don't have the actual stuff to back it up. Or to put it another way, you can't be a real-world power if you can't actually build things anymore. So when you take a step back and you put it all together, you connect the dots between technology, energy, and money. What the Aqua-These piece argues is that a picture of a cohesive, brand-new system starts to emerge. The analysis lays out this kind of four-step playbook. It goes like this. First, you start with a clear vision in your policies. Second, you use a catalyst like the tariffs to shake things up and force a change. Third, you start a dialogue to hash out new deals. And finally, number 4, you put the plan in motion for this totally new, rebalanced system. So at the end of the day, the central argument from the Aqua-These analysis is this. What looked like total chaos to most of us on the outside was actually, they argue, a very deliberate step-by-step plan. A plan to basically dismantle an old, outdated system and rebuild American leadership from the ground up on these 3 pillars of power. Now, the analysis doesn't say whether this all works out, but it does leave us with a pretty provocative question to chew on. The world is clearly realigning right now, and the question it leaves you with is this. Is this 3-pronged strategy, this intense focus on technology, energy, and money, actually positioning America to win the future?